Okay, welcome back to another episode of Live Wire. I'm your host, Jared Moore, and today we're going to have with us Mr. Chuy Cavazos, and he is with the American Indian Movement in Indian Territory, and he also runs the Oklahoma Community Watch YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us today, Mr. Cavazos.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, and just for a little context for the audience, the reason we're having Mr. Cavazos on today is because a couple of weeks ago we ran a story that was an update on some protesters being charged in tribal court. And this was as a result of an altercation that happened at a protest to free Leonard Peltier. There was a video associated with that story that we put in the video and had a link that was from Mr. Cavazos' Oklahoma Community Watch channel. We put a link to his channel and that video in the video description of this video, but it's also, and that story is also in our video description. If you're just watching this, you don't have any idea what I'm talking about, go watch that video and it'll get you up to date on the events. But we got contacted by Mr. Cavazos to have him come in and tell what happened, because there is, I think a lot of people are curious about what led up to the actions that we saw in the video, because it's kind of scary, really, and then the everything that happened after that. So thanks for coming on the program, and if you would, could you tell us, kind of like what led up to that confrontation that happened?
Well, to my knowledge, it was a peaceful day. We had a lot of prayer, singing, praying, speaking about Leonard. And we were parked there in that area for over 2 hours in that same area that they're talking about. Several officers passed by, never said a word. And all of a sudden this officer pulls up real close between the cars and gets out and starts yelling, "You guys got a permit to block the roads?" and all that. And so I walked over there when I heard the commotion, that's when I had my attention to there.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I'm trying to de-escalate, making fun, hey, your tent's too dark, just trying to change things around. But the officer just got in his car, got out of his car, got back in, got out. And they're trying to say we're blocking traffic, and there's several other videos out that clearly shows that there's no video that we did not block the traffic. But this officer came up, one of the warriors was telling him, call light horsemen, get out of here, call light horsemen. And that's what I was yelling also.
Mm-hmm.
And he continued to put hands on the warrior. And he advised him, you could hear him clearly on my video, where he clearly states, if you continue to put hands on me, I would, like an act of war, and I will defend myself accordingly. And he continued to do it and escalated to where it ended up happening.
Right. Right after the video ends, could you kind of tell us, like what happened after that? What was the results of that? The repercussions?
Well, they had 2 arrests. And then everybody just stood around. They stood around for about another hour. I think they were trying to see if we're going to disperse or leave. And
you're talking about the federal agents and the police officers.
Yes. And so we stayed. I was able to catch them taking one of the warriors into custody when they put him in the car and all that. But after that, it was pretty calm, But we got to understand, there's a lot of things that went wrong in this video. Besides where the officer got pushed down, a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's a bad thing. I want to let everybody know we have the right to defend ourselves on unlawful touch, even from law enforcement. They do not have any control or power over you until you've broken the law. That officer, what he should have done was either got in his vehicle and stayed in there until backup came, or left and then waited till backup came. So he violated a lot of policies.
Yeah, and we're kind of doing some coverage on our end. We've done, Mvskoke Media has actually filed for a FOIA to try to get from the Department of Justice, and I'm talking about the federal government, what the guidelines are for local law enforcement inside the reservation as to how what are they being trained as far as how they're supposed to handle these situations when they're dealing with native citizens, right? I'm just curious, did any light horse or any native law enforcement ever show up?
No, not to my knowledge. And I was there to the end. I waited till all our elders were gone, and then that's when I left.
I see.
So, not at one time. There's another thing that really bothers me is, as a lot of us know, our medallions and our jewelry that we wear is sacred. Okay. Well, the Warrior Brother has, I have it on video. You can go see on the video, one of the videos I got, where he clearly says, "Could I get a native? Could I get someone to take this off?" Well, he had a knife there too, but he wasn't talking about the knife. He was talking about his medallion, and they blatantly and there was a native officer there. That would have, you know what I'm saying? It would have been okay for him,
right?
And they violated that too. They're violating our rights left and right, and it's sad.
With the situation being as it is, and I want to again tell the audience, this is, if you have any questions for Mr. Cavazos about the incident or anything else, go ahead and pop them into the chat and we'll ask away. And while we're talking about it too, your Oklahoma Community Watch YouTube channel, and for the audience, there's a link to his channel in the description of this video. Could you kind of talk about what you're doing there? Because there's some interesting videos there, and what's your objective with that?
My objective is to hold police accountable, and also to educate not only the public, but sometimes we have to educate law enforcement. And there's a lot of people that their rights have been violated and they don't know their rights, and they're afraid to get out there because of retaliation. Well, and no matter what we do, there has to be a warrior somewhere, and that's where I think I step in, and I want to make sure people learn their rights. I try to have a little fun while I'm out there doing it when I'm cop watching. I'm usually pretty respectful, but it depends on how the officers come up to me. I got a couple videos where my language ain't the nicest, like on this last video.
Right.
But it's part of what happens in the heat of that moment, And
yeah,
I can't go and apologize for the actions at that time, because at that time it was the heat of the moment. So I'm not going to apologize for my actions. So
you guys also had weapons drawn on you, so the adrenaline is definitely going to be there in that situation.
Yeah, but that happens also in the auditing world. I usually go and film cops when they pull you over, or if there's a wreck, I try to document that. And things of interest, public interest, and public meetings, things that the movement does, educate people, because some people could get out too. And I like to show them what the raw footage, and I'm just trying to be paying back to society,
Yeah. And it's something that people aren't exposed to a lot too. You'll find, or I find, that because the mainstream media has to maintain relations with police forces and things, so they don't want to show any type of infringements or anything. And a lot of times, if you go, there are a lot of channels on YouTube all over the country, and you can Google it. If you're in the audience, you don't know what auditing the police is, just Google it. You can see what it entails. So how did you get involved with the American Indian movement?
Well, thanks for asking. That's a good question. Growing up in California, my family was involved in the Chicano movement back in the 70s. And so I was brought up in knowing about A.I.M, knowing about Leonard Peltier, and all these other great warriors before me. And when I moved out here to Oklahoma, I've heard, I heard about A.I.M, so I followed them, and I would support them and go to them, and I prayed to the Creator one day, and the Creator said in my heart that it was time for me to take that step and stop being behind the scenes and stepping forward. And so, I was good friends with A.I.M Indian Territory, everybody there. And so before I did that, what I did though is what a lot of people don't do is I'm kind of old school. So out here where I'm at, the Camp family are the first A.I.M for Oklahoma, Carter Camp.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows them in the movement, KC Camp, all the Camp family. I went and got their blessings, one of the Camp brothers' blessings prior to going and offering my services. So, and that's how I got into it. It's just, I've always been an activist in one way, shape, or form. But I've always been behind the scenes. But, like I said, the Creator told me it was time for me to stand up and be up in front.
I see. So the individuals that got charged from this situation, their charges got transferred down to the tribal court, and that's what our previous coverage was when that was announced by the nation. Do you know if A.I.M is planning on doing protests down here in relation to this? Because I know we've seen on social media a lot of calls for some charges to be brought on the officers and so on and so forth. Do you know of any plans on that type of stuff? Or has A.I.M been in contact with the Creek Nation government or anything?
As far as I know, I've not heard nothing of that nature. I've kind of been busy with other stuff over here on our side.
Mm-hmm.
I could just say this. We just lost a sister, Lana Kay, here recently, so we've been kind of mourning her.
I see.
And I just want to say God bless her. So,
I'm sorry for your loss, sir.
But she was a great woman. But that's why I've kind of just been sitting back, and just doing my mourning. But I am in contact with the two that were charged. I don't know if they found that third person. I don't really know the third person. So
could you elaborate on that? I was just going to say, could you elaborate on the third person a little bit? Because for some of the people that might not have been following this on social media, they might not know, like what that topic is.
Okay, there was a third person that was involved in the moving of the officer between the cars. I guess during that. And there was a gentleman there with tattoos on his hands and on his face. And we've seen him a few times, but we weren't really familiar with him.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently they were looking for him also.
I see.
But but all they were saying at first is that they were looking for the guy with the tattoos on his hands. So
I see.
A lot of people were wondering who.
Right. Yeah, that's broad net.
Yeah.
So, with the ongoing situation since the McGirt ruling, in particular, with these on the boots on the ground jurisdictional problems, do you know if are there any protests that A.I.M is planning in the future in the Tulsa area or in the Mvskoke Reservation in particular?
I believe we're discussing possibly doing something in the near future, but I think right now everybody's still trying to.
I see. Go through the morning.
It's been a little heavy for a lot of people. Even with the arrest, coming up with the funds to get the brothers out. Just all the So everybody's kind of taking a little.
I see.
Slow down.
On the planning front, has there been any discussion of maybe, like for instance, before you guys go do a protest or something, contacting Light Horse and seeing if Light Horse can escort you guys or something like that, like contacting tribal law enforcement? Because it's kind of a situation.
I know in the past they have done that. I'm not the one involved in the coordinating of the protest. I'm more in the background, so
I
pretty
gotcha.
much excuse me. What I do for A.I.M is I'm security, but also I'm mainly the videographer, and I make sure to try to document our events of what happens. in case things like this happen.
I see. We've got a question in here, and I don't know, it's not really directed, it's not AIM specific or anything like that. We have a regular viewer, TY Prol. He asks, should Mvskoke tagged vehicles driven by citizens run toll booths inside the res boundaries without paying in protest? Just for me to answer that, I would say I wouldn't recommend it, just for the fact that right now they have all those traffic cameras, and that with the if you look at the coverage that we have previously, right now income tax is being debated at the federal level, whether the native citizens are going to pay that. So I can guarantee you any traffic fines or anything like that, they're just going to go ahead and mail it out to your address. In fact, I think they actually started a program on the Creek Nation Turnpike in Tulsa where, like, you can go through those things and they just take a picture of your license plate and then they mail you. It's not a fine, they just charge you, they send you a thing trying to get you to pay whatever the toll was. But what do you think on that, sir?
Don't break no laws.
I think that's it. That's a good advice to give anybody. Don't break any laws.
Well, if you want to do something in protest, do it smart, do it legal.
Right.
They can't come back after you.
Yeah.
You break the law, you got a reason to mess with you. You could protest legally, like our event at the actions at the event on the 7th. In my eyes and in my heart and in my knowledge, I feel that it was legal and constitutional, all of our actions that day. So yeah, that's why I say you do everything legal, and that's why I feel what we did was, if I thought we did something wrong, I would admit, we shouldn't have done this or we shouldn't have done that. But the one thing we're forgetting is we got a constitution, and we're forgetting that. Our Constitution overrides all your policies, all your laws. It's the top law of the land,
Yeah, and, absolutely.
And people are forgetting about the Constitution, and it's it's sad that. But we got to remember, our Constitution gives us the right to do what we do. Man.
Yeah.
So don't break the laws. If you want to protest it another way, make a sign, go stand somewhere. Don't do anything that's going to cost you more money at the end of the road.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's also, that's an important thing to do, is if you're going to do any type of protest action or anything, you really need to take the time before you do anything and educate yourself on your rights and what you can and can't do, so that just like when you're put in one of those situations where things are getting heated, you know exactly when law enforcement or somebody in the group that you're protesting with has stepped over the line into breaking the law. So it's very good advice to understand your own rights, and the information is out there, even if it maybe isn't being taught in school the way that it needs to be. Sir, I want to thank you for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And I want to also encourage the audience that if you're watching this and you're interested, go check out Oklahoma Community Watch. It's a very cool channel. There's a lot of stuff in there that, I'm actually surprised isn't getting a lot more even national media coverage. There were some confrontation videos between natives and other people that I saw a video on your channel that with a guy that was throwing white power symbols at some native kids. Right. That to me, it was amazing that was even happening here, or wherever, So go check out his channel, and you're going to keep posting, I'm assuming, like you have been.
Oh, yeah. I got more videos to post, and I might be bringing some old videos just to refresh people's memories. If I could just take a second, I've been filming with a lot of the bigger YouTubers bigger than me, And before I get out of here, I would just want to thank a couple of them real quick.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Go for it.
Illinois Tyrant Patrol. Good friend of mine, good man, good content on his. San Joaquin Valley Transparency, High Desert Community Watch, Ice Code Audits, West Coast Digital. There's so many guys out there, but those are a few of the people I've filmed with, and they're very good. Well, Nasty Nathaniel, 805 Cop Watch, people like that. You got different areas of the states and all that. Joe Cool is another good one. So, there's a lot of good channels out there. Google them up. You're going to find good ones. You're going to find bad ones. And just like in everything else that you look for. So, but I want to thank you guys once again, Mado. It was my honor.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you for being on the program. And I'll tell you what, too, if you're watching this video, what I'm going to have is, I can call you Chuy, right? I'm going to have Chuy email me all of those channels, and I'll try to get the links to those YouTube channels and get them into the information box for this video after the fact. So if you're watching this, you're not watching it live, right? Go check the information box, and we'll try to get links to all those channels. And if you want to go down that rabbit hole, of I'm assuming a lot of those are auditing channels. Is that correct, sir?
A lot of them are auditing channels. They're real good channels. They're in different parts of the California, Illinois, Chicago. So, and you can see the difference, but you see the tyrannic actions of law enforcement, even when they're being filmed.
Right. Yeah, and that's something that I don't think that people see very much, is because when you first see any of those type of videos, it's kind of shocking sometimes, the things that happen in the videos.
Right.
So, well, yeah. So, well, thanks for coming on, sir. And I don't see any more questions in the chat. There's a discussion going on there, but we're at 21 minutes. So, is there anything that you'd like to touch on with the topic we were talking about that maybe we didn't discuss or you think is important?
Okay. Yeah. But I feel that I'm going to be doing, just to let you guys know, I called IA in Tulsa because I'm trying to I'm trying to bring charges and also make a complaint on the officer that grabbed my phone.
Okay.
When I was filming, because I was uncalled for.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to go make a complaint but I'm probably going to have to get a hold of Creek Nation. And that's going to be another story right there. Is Creek Nation going to be willing to charge this officer for simple assault or simple battery? And then also I want to make a complaint on the officer that was challenging me to go one-on-one when I was using my First Amendment verbiage on him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, keep us updated on that, because I'm interested to see how that plays out, and I hope you have all the success in the world, sir.
Well, thank you very much,
Mado. And for everybody out there in the audience, thanks for tuning in today. And we're going to have another live wire in a couple of weeks, speaking with the Grover Wind of the Veterans Administration and the Freedom Riders in particular about that program. So we'll get that posted as soon as we can. And with that being said, I think that's it for today. And appreciate you coming in. And everybody have a good one. Mado.